everybody, it's your girl Nell, and welcome to another episode of Simply Nell's excuse me, Simply Nell's Tiny Studio. Thank you so much for watching. I'm in a tiny studio today. Well, it's nighttime and it is Friday, September the 5th, 2025, and it is the eve of my eldest daughter's birthday. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. My eldest child. I don't know if she wants me to tell you what how old she's going to be on her birthday tomorrow, but between you and I'm going to tell you anyway. My daughter, she's going to be 38 years old tomorrow. Yes, on September the 6th, 1987 was the year that she was born. I am just in awe. I cannot believe that I have a 38-year-old daughter. It's unbelievable. But time really does fly. It really does seem like for me that it was just yesterday that I was holding her in my arms, that I was nursing her, that I was, walking through the mall with her in her stroller. I just cannot believe that time has gone by so fast. And you know what? When you are a mother, especially a new mother, and you are, faced with, trying to, not trying, actually raising a child, taking care of a baby, you get to the point where you start saying, oh, I can't wait until, my baby's able to, she's able to be potty trained, or, I can't wait until she holds her own bottle or feeds herself. I can't wait until, she goes, she's able to go to school, and she's able to, fix herself a sandwich. She's able to take a bath without my total supervision. You as a mother, you go through these milestones, and you're always anticipating your child's growth. But what you forget is that all of those milestones really mean that your child is growing up, and that one day your child is not going to be with you or in your home anymore. They're going to be out on their way exploring the world for themselves. And that's kind of something that, I was going through with my oldest daughter and my oldest son. But I think that with my husband and I, with our last baby, which is the tiny studio assistant, we now know that we knew then that we had to take our time and savor every single moment of the tiny studio assistant's childhood. We savored, the tiny stuff, taking her first steps, being able to feed herself, the little things we really understood by child number 4, that time does fly, and it's really important to just stop and enjoy the moments that you have with your child, and not be in an act of rushing for them to go through their different developmental stages, because what each stage does is, in many ways, it teaches them to become independent of you until the day when they actually do fly out on their own. They really do become independent. And my daughter, she is she was married for 13 years, and then she went through a divorce, and now she's in a really great relationship. And, she has grown so much. All of my children are grown now, but my oldest daughter, my pride and joy, I am really, really thankful to the universe to have been blessed with, such a beautiful, beautiful child. And she was just a beautiful baby, beautiful toddler, a beautiful tween, a beautiful teenager, and she turned into a beautiful woman. And so I am just so thankful that my husband and I were able to, be there for her, and to be able to raise her to the best of our ability and knowledge at the time. And to also, even though she is independent, she's out here on her own, making her own way, being in a position to let her know that anytime she needs to come home, she's always welcome to come home. Always, no matter what. So anyhow, this is a crochet and chat conversation with Neil today. And what I'm doing is I am crocheting, and I am crocheting working on the edging of my sweet potato, my baked sweet potato granny square afghan. And if you didn't get a chance to watch the episode, I think it was Tuesday's episode where I explained a little bit about this blanket. I'm at the end of the blanket, as a matter of fact. This afghan, I've been working on it for maybe about 4 or 5 years. You know, that's a long time. I know that's a long time, but you know, I would pick it up and put it down, pick it up, put it down, and then pick it up again. And so this time I am dedicated to completing this blanket because I wanted to go on the couch in my great room. I am changing over the colors in there for the fall winter season, and one of the colors that's going to be in that in the living room or the great room is going to be this particular color green right here, somewhere in a shade somewhere in this particular family. And so I just thought that it would be a great thing for me to get this finished and to be able to put it on the couch. I have pillows on the couch right now, but I'm going to be transferring them to somewhere else in the house, and I'm going to be purchasing some green pillows, as I said, in this shade family, maybe some camel colored pillows, and maybe a winter white pillow to go on the couch. Right now, I have a lot of spring summery colors on the couch, but I'm getting ready to transfer and over to a fall winter type of thing. So if you are crocheting, grab your crochet project. If you are a knitter, grab your knitting project, and let's enjoy this Friday evening. It's September 5th, 2025. So my edging today is going to be the shell stitch. And what the shell stitch is, happens to be six double crochets in one stitch. So it would be something like this. Okay, there's one. Okay, there's two. Okay, here's three. I haven't done this in a while. I thought I was going to forget. 4, 5, and 6. And then I don't do a space or anything. Usually you can do a space, which would be single crochet, and then begin the next set. But what I'm noticing is that I did not do it like that, and probably because I wanted to have a really tight ruffle. Okay, so I did not put a space in between the shell clusters. So there's no spacing. It's just straight 6 double crochets, 6 double crochet stitches in one particular stitch. Okay, and that's what we're going to be doing today. And like I said, crochet along with me or knit along with me, and let's just have a conversation. How about that? So I was perusing social media maybe a couple of days ago. No, I think it was yesterday. And I saw that Kelly Price had went on a rant. Kelly Price is an R&B singer, and she sings R&B, but she also sings a little gospel. That's what she's known for. She is a great songwriter, And I am not a Kelly Price type of fan, but I do respect her work. She used to be, well, she was one of the stars of a show called R&B Divas, and I had the opportunity to watch that show. It was a reality show that featured a lot of R&B stars, female, and she was one. I think she was one of the producers of the show. If I'm correct, she was a star and a producer of the show, and there were some moments on that particular show where Kelly Price wasn't so nice. Yeah, I let it rhyme, but um, it made me think differently of her, and maybe she was acting. I don't know, because with these reality shows, you never particularly you have to understand that after a certain time period, reality shows became sort of scripted. When reality shows began, and the first reality show I ever watched was, well, I believe the first reality show had to be MTV's Real World. And, that wasn't a scripted show. That was real live TV. That was truly reality TV. And then, in the late 90s, then you had Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and then you had the Real Housewives of Orange County, and then Real Housewives of New York, and you had a whole lot of different shows that were reality shows, and they were really good, like Flavor of Love. Those were truly reality shows where it wasn't scripted. And then when reality shows began to really take over TV, and people began to see, or producers and the media conglomerates begin to realize that reality TV was a very lucrative thing, and that you could actually create stars from this, then I think that reality TV became a little bit more about the script, as opposed to, it was more script and less the reality. If you can understand what I'm saying. More scripted television and less reality. And so when that happened, as a viewer, you stop really trusting what you see. And so that's why I said that Kelly Price, I don't know if her negativity and her meanness that she had portrayed on the show, if that had anything to do with her being, if she was really mean in real life, or if perhaps she was just being, being mean for the TV cameras. I don't know. But, when people get mean on reality TV, I stop watching, because I just don't like it. And right now, I'm in that mode, in that mode, because I used to get excited when I would see, confrontations happening when it was the real thing, because confrontation is not always bad. Sometimes confrontation can be good. It can be productive. But I think that when we started realizing, or when producers started realizing that confrontation equals ratings, then, confrontation became more of a manufactured type of thing. And, that's not good. That's bad. Bad for people like me who really don't thrive on fights and whatnot, but good for producers and networks, because that means ratings, and ratings translate to what? Dollars. So Kelly Price went on a rant about Black women, and I'm going to play some of that rant for you today. First of all, I want you to know that I do not own the rights to the audio that's about to be played. Yeah, so hold on, let me get it for you. I thought it was very interesting what she said. I don't know why she went on the rant, went on this particular rant, but let's just hear what she said. Hang on. See if I can find it. Okay, here it is.
Not there yet. I'm letting you have it right now because ain't nothing you can do about that. And while you looking for a new job, I'm still going to be selling out theaters and venues looking like a fat slob in clothes that you said that I look nasty in. And my feet are so damn big. And who dressed me? I'm still going to be making my money. I don't even do this. But I'm so sick of black people and their bull. I'm saying what I want to say. If you got a problem with what I'm saying, and Lord, pray for me. Because I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Okay? I'm not there yet. Black women, you are some of the most nasty, disrespectful people on God's planet Earth. The things that you say about other black women, but you're an activist, and you are educated, and you are this, and you are that, and you are the other. Find yourself, because a degree does not give you class. Find yourself, because a degree ain't going to get your stupid into heaven. Find yourself, because being a keyboard thug on social media ain't going to do nothing but your ass whipped when somebody walk up on you that don't know, that you don't even know is watching you. I said what I said.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know what caused Kelly Price to go off like that, but she really said a mouthful. She said a whole lot. And one of the things that I noted that she said is that she gets a lot of criticism for the way she dressed and the way she used to dress as a big girl. I don't know if she's still a big girl, but I do know that when she was a big girl, she used to get a lot of criticism about the way she dressed. I remember people used to talk about the clothing that she wore and how they were ill-fitting or they were, too tight in some places, weren't the right style. I do remember that. I don't know this thing that she's talking about when she says black women were talking about her feet or anything like that. I do remember hearing black women talk about her, the way she dressed. And it's unfortunate that at this time period that we live in, that black women are still coming at Kelly Price about the way she dresses or her shoes or things like that, because it's really unnecessary. I think that we live in a world where on social media you just say whatever it is you want to say and you believe that there are no consequences. But what we have to remember is that, while we're on the keyboard clowning people, that these celebrities actually do have feelings like we do. They have feelings as well, and they really should not read the comments, but who wouldn't? Who doesn't read comments? I'm pretty sure that most celebrities read the comments that to find out what people are saying about them. And it's unfortunate that Kelly Price read some comments, and I'm guessing, and she saw what people were saying about her and it hurt her feelings. This whole thing about black women being the nastiest people, most hateful people, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't think that we are. I think that, I don't know. I don't know, because as Black women, we can sometimes be a little harsh, and it's usually our delivery. We can be harsh, especially when it comes to Black women who we believe to have a certain position in life, to have a certain level of financial success. We look at them to be examples, to make us. We look to them to make us proud. We want to be. We want to look at them and say, "Hey, she's one of us." And when we see one of us represented in a way that we believe to reflect bad on us as a group, then yes, sometimes the comments can be very negative. And especially on social media. Social media is a hotbed of negativity from time to time. I mean, I can go on any site right now, Twitter or slash X, Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, and I don't care what it is. Whatever post I look at, underneath there's going to be a dozen or so negative comments underneath it. It just is. And now that we've gotten to a place where negativity, especially negative comments about people, are not being censored anymore. You could basically go on places like X and say whatever the hell you want to say about somebody, and you will not face any type of penalties for it. You will not be banned for it. It's a free for all now. It really is. And I have been on the side of the fence where I have been attacked by people because of my political stand. Maybe some years ago when Barack Obama was the president, I used to find myself being victimized and bullied on a lot of sites because I supported Barack Obama, or because I would, what I was against all of the negative things that people would say about Michelle Obama, calling her names and whatnot. And I found myself on the side of the fence where I was being bullied and attacked, and then called out on my appearance because I was a big Black woman, and called all kinds of names and whatnot. And that wasn't fun. It was terrible. It was terrible. It was terrifying, and it was heartbreaking to see the lengths that a human being would go to attack a person based on the fact that we had differing opinions. And then you would attack me. You would attack my appearance, which was unnecessary. Attack my stance. Don't attack my appearance. But that's where the whole situation had gone. And I can understand how Kelly Price feels, being, she's a celebrity, so I'm sure that the negativity or the negative comments that she received was a whole lot more, the quantity of them was probably more than what I received, because I'm just, I'm just Nell. I'm just somebody, in Florida, so I'm, in the grand scheme of things, no one really knows me. But Kelly Price is she's a public figure, she's known around the world. So I'm sure that the comments that came to her, the quantity of them, the quantity of the negativity was just, disgusting. But to generalize Black women in that manner, I think is, a little harsh. And that's why I feel that perhaps something went down and she decided that she, couldn't take it anymore, and that's why she went off. But when she said, just because you have a degree doesn't mean you have class, or just because you claimed to be some type of activist, you know, having a nasty attitude, kind of, cancels the goodness that you're trying to do. I have noticed that, yes, there have been times where I've been in a situation with another sister or with a group of sisters, and yes, I have noticed that there were moments in time where the feeling that I got was I was being excluded for some reason. I was being excluded at one point because I didn't have the degrees that the people that I associated with had at the time. Yes, I've been in a position where I have been talked down to by other Black women because I did not have their same pedigree. I was not raised in a middle class or upper middle class family, such as they. I did not attend Ivy League college, or nor did I attend a HBCU. Yes, I felt that kind of isolation. And yes, I've also been on the end where I felt excluded because I wasn't part of a Black sorority. And when Black sorority sisters get together and they have a good time, yes, I have felt as if I wasn't good enough, or I've been made to feel as if I'm not good enough. And so I do understand where Kelly was coming from when she was saying, hey, just because you have this degree or you have that degree, that doesn't mean that you are a person that has class. And that is true. And just because you may have grown up with a certain type of pedigree, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have class. And what I think Kelly is trying to say is that you can have all the things. You can have the pedigree. You can have the many degrees. You can be a social justice warrior. You can be all the things, but if you are sitting back, being highly critical and negative towards your fellow sister, then what good does any of those things actually, what good can they do if your intention is bad? If your intentions are not pure, what's the point of having all of these degrees if you cannot put them to good use? Or what's the point of saying that you are a social justice warrior or that you are some type of activist when you are repeatedly tearing other people down? What you're practicing is a form of hypocrisy. That's what it is. You're practicing a form of hypocrisy so that all of your good works are being canceled because of the negativity. When I first hear things, I try not to rush to judgment, because you never know what the other person is thinking. We really don't know the backstory to it, and we can't necessarily say what her intentions were behind the rant. But usually when someone goes off like that, it's because they've had an experience, and that experience has pushed them to the point where they are just really, they've had it. And so I'm guessing that maybe the people, the women or the sisters who were dogging Kelly were sisters who were educated, had great pedigrees, great jobs, may have even been active in social justice. But while they had all of those things going for them, they still also had time to be low-key social media thugs, bullying and intimidating another sister. And that's terrible. That's really terrible. It's heartbreaking to know that, you know, we can be, like Kelly Price called it, keyboard warriors, um, or keyboard bandits, putting down one another, and then in the same breath going to our jobs as social workers and psychologists and, you know, writers and politicians and secretaries, and we can get out in this world and we have to, you know, and you know, what just went through my mind is that, you know, we as Black women, when we go out into the world, we already have it hard. Okay, we already are being judged. All right, because first of all, we're Black. Okay, and then, you know, on top of that, we're not just Black, but we're educated Black women. You know, and we're out here in a society that really does not respect Black women. So we struggle every day. We put on, as Black women, we put on a certain face every single day when we step out of our homes, right? We're always putting forth our best face, our best foot, because we are constantly placed in a situation where we are being pitted against and held against and compared to our white counterparts. So this is what we're doing every single day as career women, as women with a certain type of pedigree and a certain type of education. So you would think that we would not do or place ourselves in a position to judge and to be oppressive, or to have a type of nature that would, I don't want to say discriminate, but would tear down another sister. Because in essence, that's what Kelly is talking about. She is talking about Black women who are in a position to uplift other Black women and to help them, but instead would rather tear another sister down instead of seeking to uplift them and to help them in areas that they may need help. When I see Black women, especially women, Black women who are curvaceous women like myself, big girls, and I see that there may be some issues with their wardrobe or the way that they dress. Maybe an outfit is ill-fitting for them, or maybe the style doesn't fit their body type correctly. What I do, or what I used to do, is I used to make suggestions. And I would not only make a suggestion, I would send that person a link, or I would suggest to them a catalog that I purchased my wardrobe from, and suggest that they look at that, you know, and you know, maybe that would help their style, you know, because not all of us as Black women, not all of us know how to dress. And I learned that from my mom, my grandmother, and my aunt. Not all women have a sense of style. Some women need to be taught. Some women need to be educated and or coached. And I think that the way you approach a subject, it has to be very carefully, sensitively, And a lot of us don't do that. We would rather say, "Oh, that is us ugly and disgusting and make you look like a whale. You know, why she wear that? That's too tight. She too big to wear that." Instead of saying things like that, and see, social media just promotes that type of talk. Instead of saying something like that about Kelly Price, about Kelly, what people should have done was recommended some things that Kelly could do to make herself look better. And it's the way you say things, it's the way you do things that can be of help to somebody else. Just saying, "Oh, you know what? That makes you look like a big fat cow," that is not going to help anybody, and it doesn't help anything. And if a person is going through a situation where if they are overweight, or they are obese, they might have a medical situation going on, or they may be dealing with some type of food disorder, some eating disorder. Okay, so attacking the way that they look is not going to help their self-esteem, and it's not going to help them overcome whatever eating disorder or depression that they may have. And see, I think that social media has gotten us to a place in society where we don't care about the things that we type anymore on the internet, on our phones, on our laptops, and on our PCs. We don't care. We just say anything. And I am not that type of person. I don't just type anything, because I am always thinking about how will the other person feel? How will that make them feel at the end of the day when they read that? Is this a positive post, or is this something that can help them? And I think that, especially with Trump in office, we have really, really deviated from being kind to one another. We have really gone off the deep end and calling each other names and being just utterly disrespectful to one another. And as Black women, we are the last people that should be walking around disrespecting anyone, especially our fellow sister. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, and it's really sad. It's sad, and that's why I did not want to come on and say anything negative about what Kelly Price said, because I'm sure from the way she said it, this is something that happened to her, and this is an incident that happened, and it just really made her feel some kind of way. And yes, people can do that to you on social media. People will take you out of your character, and they will most definitely hurt your feelings, because they don't care, because they know that there are no repercussions for their bad behavior. They know they cannot be punished. They will not get banned. Nothing's going to happen to them because they sat back and became a keyboard warrior and sat there and wrote something, a whole bunch of nonsense and negativity on the internet. They know they're not going to get in any trouble for it, and so they do it. And I've seen people who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s do the same thing. Be on Facebook and Instagram arguing and calling people names, and just disgusting behavior. And it's uncalled for. It's absolutely uncalled for. I do know I saw some posts yesterday where some black women were saying, "Well, who does Kelly Price think she is? All black women are not like that. All of us are not negative Nancy's. All of us aren't Karens. All of us don't sit back and we don't do this and that and the other." But I'm going to tell you one thing. Black women, we are our own harshest critics. We cannot avoid that. We have to admit that we do have our moments when we are just the pits. When we are just our own worst critics. And we will most definitely eat our own. I've seen it happen. I really have. I have seen it happen. But on one post on Facebook, someone said, "Why are black women like that? Why do we Why do we berate our own? Why do we have such nasty attitudes? Why is that? And I answered that question, and I said that the reason why we as Black women have been known to have nasty attitudes is because it's really out of frustration, it's out of irritation, it's from lack of love, lack of support. It's because of we have health issues. We're dealing with depression, emotional instability, financial instability, familial dysfunction. We have health problems, health issues. We are not listened to in the medical sense. So our medical needs are ignored. Most times we are invisible. Sometimes we are guinea pigs. We don't have any support from the men, our lovers in our lives. We're raising children. We're single parents. We're struggling to be the head of the household, of our household. We're not even third-class citizens many times. We're overlooked, overworked, and underpaid. And all of those things together can lead one to think that Black women have bad attitudes. Couple the fact with a lot of us have been used, we've been abused, we've been in situations with men where we're victims of domestic violence. We have been raped emotionally, physically, spiritually. Think about that. We have gone through a lot. And then on top of all of that, we get to be the scapegoats for the dysfunction of the Black family. So in that way, yes, Black women collectively, yeah, we have an attitude. We have an attitude problem. Yeah, we kind of do. But how can we, as Black women, make things better for ourselves and for the young Black women coming up behind us? How can we make things better? That's the question. And we each have to ask ourselves that question. Are we the answer? Are we the solution? Or are we the cause? Black women, are we helping each other? Black moms, if you have adult daughters, are you helping them? Are you setting an example for your daughters? Are you showing them how to become good mothers, be successful parents? Are you showing your daughters how to be emotionally present for their children by being emotionally present for yours? Are we talking to our daughters? Are we educating our daughters? Are we helping our daughters to understand what it means to have a healthy self-esteem? Are we talking to our daughters? Are we helping our daughters understand that they are more than just a pretty face, a human being with a body to be sexualized? Are we letting our daughters know that they can be more than what their mothers were or what their mothers are, that they can soar, that they can be entrepreneurs, that they can get an education, that they can successfully take care of a family and not rely on the government to help them. What are we teaching our daughters? Or are we just letting our daughters hit a certain age and then, are we just washing our hands of them when they reach their teen years, 15, 16, 17, 18? Is that what we're doing? You know? Are we really there for our daughters? Are we there to teach them how to find a man? Teach them what it means to have a successful relationship, showing them what a successful relationship looks between a man and a woman, or just two people who love each other. Okay, are we doing that? I mean, we have to really sit down and ask ourselves those questions because, I have two daughters. And it was my mission to always show my daughters that they can be anything that they want it to be. But that it would take hard work and it would take their determination and effort to do so. I wanted my daughters to see and to learn that they can be loved the way they want to be loved, and that it was okay to go after that type of love. I wanted my daughters to see what a healthy relationship looked like, what a healthy marriage looks like, because I didn't have that. I didn't know what a healthy marriage looked like. I knew what a dysfunctional marriage looked like. I knew what a marriage full of domestic violence looked like. I didn't want my daughters to ever know something like that. I didn't want my daughters to ever know what it meant to be unhappy in a relationship. I didn't want my daughters to ever know what it meant to be in a violent filled or tension filled household. That is not what I wanted for my daughters. And I'm not trying to say that my marriage was the greatest marriage. I'm not trying to say that there were not moments, or there are not moments in my marriage and in my household where my husband and I have tempers that flare from time to time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I wanted my daughters to see a healthy confrontation and a healthy resolve. I wanted them to see that so they know that I wanted them to replicate that. I didn't want them to replicate a cycle of dysfunction or domestic violence. Okay? Because see, those things, that's what harbors, that's what grows that negativity, and it harbors that low self-esteem in us as black girls and in black women, because you feel, or you begin to grow a sense of distrust, and then you lose hope. Okay? And you lose faith. And then you become one of those people who say there are no good black men. Oh, I can raise my children on my own. I don't need a father. I don't need their father around to help me. I could do this on my own. And see, sometimes as women, as black women, we do find ourselves in situations where we have to raise our families on our own. But it should not be something that we seek out or that we strive to do. And it should not happen because we don't know. We have not been in a situation where we have no clue of what a healthy, normal, functioning family unit looks like. So it's a lot that goes into this whole thing of, black women have a bad attitude. Why do black women have bad attitudes? Why do they act this way? You know, it's a lot that goes into that. It's a lot of reasons why this occurs or this is happening. It's not just one reason. And the reason is simply not just because black women, you know, that we are just catty and we're just nasty and we're just hateful in human beings, because that's not true. Black women are some of the most loving group of people that you would ever find on this planet. Okay? Black women will take you into their homes and will nurse you when you are sick. Black women will feed you whatever they have in their pantry. Black women will give you their last. Yes, black women will do all of those things. I have seen it. I have been a witness to it. Well, I just said I've seen it, but I've not only seen it or been a witness to it, but I've also been a recipient of it. So I know that all black women aren't nasty or hateful or spiteful. I know that. But I also know that there are other factors that play into the reason why many of us behave and react the way that we do. I understand that too. So I know Kelly Price said at the end of that, that we could, argue with her on it. And she said she's not going to take it back. She don't have to take it back because we don't know what precipitated that rant. We don't know. But I know one thing, I could tell she was hurt. Because whoever hurt her, whatever sister or sisters hurt her, were sisters of means, of education, and status. And she most certainly wasn't expecting the reception that she got from those women, from those sisters. And it can be shocking when someone behaves in a way that you least expect it. It can most definitely be a shocking type of thing because you are expecting them to act in accordance with what their status or their degree or their education may say that they are. But I'm going to tell you something right now. There are so many people out here, and I've had this experience myself, where you are expecting them to behave in one way and they totally behave in the opposite. And it's really just because a person has a degree or a certain level of education, or just because a person has a certain status, that doesn't mean that emotionally and mentally that they are fully, it doesn't mean that they have it together, is what I'm trying to say. They, on paper, it may seem as if they have it together, but in reality, as far as mentally, no, they do not have it together. They are, as far from having it together as can be. And we think that just because somebody, may have a degree or maybe a social justice activist, or we may see them on television talking a certain way, or they may play a doctor on TV. You may be thinking that, oh, they should know better. But in reality, a lot of people don't know any better. A lot of people were raised, even though they may have had a certain type of pedigree, they may have been raised in a household of dysfunction and violence. They may have been raised in the hood. Who knows? They may not have had the same opportunity to really thrive or to really get the education in life that that they need. That can happen as well. We cannot just assume that because somebody has a certain educational status or a certain type of lifestyle that they will automatically treat us a certain way, because sometimes it don't work out like that. You know, that's asking a little too much of human nature, especially if a person has never been surrounded with a certain type of positivity, you know? So, I mean, to, once again, Kelly, I don't want to talk about her, but, judge that's a little judgment too that she's doing, assuming that just because someone has this and that and the other, that they're going to be treating her with the level of respect that she believes she deserves. You know, it really doesn't go down that way. I've seen that as well. So, I'm thinking that we all need to give each other grace. And I'm also thinking that Kelly needs to start reading the comments. I really do. And for any of my sisters out here who, feel that, maybe Kelly needs a little help, she needs a stylist, what people need to do is, instead of calling her names, recommend stylists, tag stylists in your comments to maybe they can help Kelly out with her wardrobe. She's still doing concerts, as she's so eloquently said, that she's still giving concerts and she's still doing her thing. So hey, if you are a stylist, why don't you hit Kelly Price up and work out something with her so that she can get on the stage and she can look good, and not only look good, feel good, and represent us as sisters really well. How about that? Because I've been in a situation as a courageous woman where there are sometimes my outfits did not work right. They didn't look good. They didn't look well. And my grandmother or my aunt or my mom had to pull me aside and educate me on what suited my body, what suited my shape. And they had to do that a few times so that I began to really learn what looks good on me and what doesn't look good on me. But I had to be educated. I think that if we took more time helping each other and educating each other instead of putting each other down and talking about each other, that's the easy way out. To talk about somebody is easy. It's easy to point out where somebody went wrong at. But then it takes time and effort to educate somebody so that they won't make that same mistake again. You know? I don't know how many stitches I have done so far of the shell stitch edging. I hope I've done at least 10. As I said, I make the shell stitch, but I don't put a single crochet after the stitch. I just keep going, and the reason is because I want a tight ruffle. So as you see right here, I would not make a single crochet in this space. I would just continue to make my shell stitch. And for me, the shell stitch consists of 6 double crochet in a single stitch. Okay, I think that's 4, 5, 6. And so in this space right here, some people will go ahead and make a single crochet, and then they will go ahead into the next stitch and make their next set. But instead, I just go ahead and continue. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's what I do. And look at that. I just love the way it curls up. I just love the way it ruffles, and it's just so pretty. I'm just so in love with this stitch. All right, so we've been yakking, crocheting, and knitting for about an hour now. And so I'm going to hop off of here, and I'm going to allow you to get on with your evening. And I'm going to stop here. And I am going to put my stitch marker in. And like that. And I am going to end it for this evening. I hope that you enjoyed this crochet along with your girl Nell. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And also think about becoming a sustainable member and joining me every week in the Tiny Studio Members Only Lounge. Don't forget to hit that like button. And I'm your girl Nell, and I'll see you later on this week. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye-bye.